Hi everyone, it's Michelle Lightworker here and welcome to Enlightened Conversations. I am very excited today to be sharing my screen with the wonderful James Devitt. And James is actually a master healer, a master channeler, a master spiritual teacher of new energy, and an international author. He's been on his spiritual path throughout this lifetime, but consciously for over 31 years. So James works with the High Council of the God Star, the Council of Light, the Ashtar Command Council, and the Earth Planetary Council of Elders. James is also the founder and director of the Awakening Network, which includes the Blue Star Spiritual Group, Metamorphosis, Life Coaching, Life Transformation, So he's got his hand in quite a few pies. He has developed his own readings as well as one of the very first pure quantum healing modalities known to the world, to this world, the Blue Star Healing Method. And through his connection with Spirit, James works tirelessly to assist people from all walks of life and from all around the world to walk the path that they are here to walk. So, without further ado, I am going to invite James in, but I don't know if he is actually able to see me. Can't see you, James. Let's have a look. Doesn't seem to be working. Let's have a look. I've been having a little bit of a problem with my live streams lately. Not 100% sure. James, if you can actually see this, could you send me a message? I've got my computer here so I can get my messenger messages, but I can't see that you've come up. Here we go. Got live viewers. Yep. Let's have a look. I might just hang on a sec. It's got here your live viewers. Someone's watching. Okay. I'll just check with James. See if anybody. Yes, you can see me. James, I can't see you. I'm going to have to, hang on a second. Hi Kelly, I can see that you're watching. Maybe it just takes a little while for these things to come up. I just can't see you, James. You can see Kelly. Hi Kelly. We're trying to sort out this live stream business. I'm not sure what's happening. Hi Charlie. Alright. Well, James is actually communicating via my message. Alright, well, I don't know what else to do. Maybe what I'll do, James, is I'll try it from my personal page and then I'll just share it onto Enlightened Conversations. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Oh, hang on, James, you've appeared. You've appeared. Bring James on the camera. Maybe. Okay, he's being added. Oh my God, sorry everybody. He's coming. He's adding. I don't know, maybe my connection's a bit slow. James. Here you are. Hello, lovely.
There we go.
We got you. Welcome.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you. And I mean, we had a brief chat. I've introduced you formally. And, we had a brief chat just like lining this conversation up. But I'm really excited to learn more about what you do and to share that with the world.
Well, I'm very excited about it as well. I was actually very nervous and worried about today because today started off really well until about 9 this morning. And then it went downhill very, very quickly and very, very steeply.
Oh, wow. You've had a challenging morning as well. I've had a challenging morning as well,
Yeah.
interestingly.
So I'm very excited to be here and I'm very excited for this interview.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, I like to say to people, it's really not an interview, it's just a conversation. It's like you and me sitting down, having a cuppa, and debriefing and finding out about what spirit wants to come through today. Because it could be anything. It could be I learn about you, you learn about me. We chew the enlightened fat on any topic that we feel called to talk about. So it's really that's role modeling. For those of you who don't know what enlightened conversations are, they're about transforming everything that's happening in our lives with each other, ourselves, sharing that dialogue and transforming that to a higher vibration to see the best out of what's going on.
And I'm up to anything, so I'm just excited to be here and be interesting to see where we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you watching, and if this is your first enlightened conversation that you've ever tuned into, we are all about shining the light in the dark places, and we are really about dialoguing reality, not just talking about concepts, but talking about like how we feel about things really, and how they really affect us, but then also how we can transcend them. So not like pushing out the darkness just to focus on the lighty, whitey stuff, but to really speak to it. And I find it really interesting, James, that both of us have had a challenging morning on the same day.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Just from the point of view of um, when we talk about like when we're raising our vibration, and so then how sometimes there can be interference that comes through that can come in different forms, blocks, barriers, so to speak.
Oh, definitely. And it's sometimes it can be very challenging to maintain that balance and to maintain the staying in your heart. I mean, as I said, today was a very stressful day, and just to let you know a little bit about why it was stressful, my wife is on her way to Australia to see her sister,
Yeah.
who's having her 60th birthday. And that's really good and really exciting and everything. And it at 9 o'clock this morning, she found out that her Jetstar flight had been delayed by an hour.
Okay.
And since we live in Dunedin, there's not a lot of flights. So we start looking at it and we're like, okay, well, if she leaves an hour later, she's basically going to miss her connecting flight. So then we had to book another flight to get her to Auckland on time, but it was leaving in such a time that it takes about 25 minutes to get to the airport from our house, and we had 28 minutes to get there.
Oh, wow.
And so we rushed, we got everything, we get going, we get to the airport, made it by 2 minutes. And I'm thinking, okay, we're all
Congratulations. I
good.
know that feeling.
Thankfully, there was no cops around.
Yeah.
At one point, I was doing 120 in a 100 zone. So
Oh my God.
unfortunately, she had to fly to Wellington and then on to Auckland. And she's in Wellington. She gives me a call. Everything's all right. And she's going to be on time, no problem. And then she's boarding and she sends me a text message. I forgot my passport.
Oh. Oh.
So literally 15 minutes ago, well, technically now I would say 25 minutes ago, I was at the post shop sending her passport overnight courier so she can get it and fly over tomorrow. And she has to stay in
Wow.
Auckland overnight. So this is what I've been dealing with since 9 o'clock this morning.
Well, bravo to you that you've actually turned up for this because
No, but the
any,
thing is, and I was thinking about this on the way home from the post shop.
yep,
Sometimes spirit gives us these challenges,
yes,
and yeah, it's an expensive challenge and everything else, but spirit doesn't really care about money, of course. But the thing is, here's the challenge: with all of these things happening, and all of this stress and frustration and everything, can you stay in your heart?
yeah,
Can
yes.
you stay focused? Can you stay grounded long enough to sort out what you need to and not completely lose the plot?
That's the hardest bit. You
I
nailed
know,
it.
I know.
You nailed that.
Well, I mean, it was I lost it a couple of times, as you would,
No, but
but
you nailed it identifying it.
I breathed, I stayed centered, I stayed balanced, and it was really good. Yeah.
Far out, James. Oh my goodness. Hey, that's just a big, huge message for everybody out there. It's really what we're called to do as we're stepping up our vibration. It's so true, James. It's so true. Everything that's happened this week, um, it's really forced me to look at that. You know, especially when there's things outside of your control, and especially when you're dealing with other people's stuff as well. Like when they're caught up in their stuff, and you know it's their stuff, but you still got to go. Okay, hang on a second. How do I stay in my heart space right now, even though they might not be in their heart space with how they're talking to me or how they're dealing with me or what they expect from me? I've had a lot of that this week. So yeah, not just the outside things stuff that happens, but also yeah, I've had that dealing with people thing where I've had to really question yeah my ability to stay in my heart space when I'm feeling a little bit because I've had a lot of stuff. You know, when you've got a week where you got to focus on that, and then you've got to focus on that, and you got to focus, and then it's like you sort of your head is going boom, 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 and you're focusing on all these things, but then it's like, okay, maybe I just need to come back to my heart space for a second, and then just make sure that all these other decisions I'm making that are usually quite clear, cognizant, and very boom, 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 don't become um, fear-based or ungrounded decisions because of the swiftness of having to make those decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually a second part to that though as well. If you do lose the plot a little bit and you need to center and ground and get back into your heart, don't judge yourself. Don't criticize
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. I was
And
thinking that.
that's where so many people fail because, oh well, I should have been better at that, or I should have done
Yep.
this and I should have done that,
Yep.
and so on and so forth. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, here's the deal, and so many people forget this. We are for star seeds, right? We're talking about an individual. Every star seed is this way. So every star seed, we're talking about an individual whose soul has come from another world, has come from somewhere else, and they've already gone through the evolutionary process. They've already gone through the ascension on their own world, which is why they're a star seed here. And and we have this mentality, well, we are better than this. We do things better than this. But at
Yep.
the end of the day, you're in a physical body, incarnated on a three-dimensional planet that is filled with density, duality, all of these things that you've already, moved past and moved beyond. And the thing is that when you judge yourself, when you criticize yourself, you're actually bringing down your vibrational frequency.
You are. Indeed, you are. Agreed.
And so the more that you can move beyond that, the better it becomes. And basically, it's like something happens and you notice that you judge somebody for something and you stop yourself and you say, no, I can't go there, because it's not my place to judge them. Well, that's living consciously. That's making a conscious choice. That's what
Yeah,
you're supposed to do.
yeah,
See, no one is perfect, and we all make mistakes. We all have these issues. We all go through these things. But we need to be able to stop for a moment and reflect, look at what's going on and go, no, that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not the path I'm going to take. And actually have the courage to say, no, I'm going down this way because this is what's right for me.
yeah. And it's a self-love, self-respect thing, and it's coming from that zone rather than I should or I'm I know better or I'm better than even because I think sometimes we can put ourselves in that position as well as we and I've noticed that about um, you know consciousness. Some people get to that point where they're quite conscious and they actually think I know better, um, and I know better than you. It's they take it that next step. Whereas we're all on a journey of really discovering our truth and the truth and what the truth means and feels like. And there's no real wrong move, really, I think. And everybody needs to accept that about everybody else. I think if we were all doing that, we wouldn't be as hard on ourselves, but we also then wouldn't be as hard on the journey that everybody else is taking as well. And there would be a lot more heart space and a lot more compassion, not only for people outside of the spiritual industry, but also when you are involved in the spiritual industry, there would be a lot more compassion for people and their journey and what they need to learn rather than judgment. And unfortunately, there's a lot of that, but also that's a process I think that people have to walk through as well before they get the level of my own judgment onto somebody else. Oh, James, I've lost you. Oh, you've popped out. Oh, I'll invite you back in. Hang on. I'm adding. Hi everybody. Hey, if you want to say anything, I've got my computer on my lap, so I'm gonna watch out for your comments, and I'm happy to. I'm not as great at this as a lot of people I've seen. In fact, I should really put my glasses on. Hey James, it says it's adding you. Just letting you know, it's saying adding. Yeah, well, I'm really intrigued by this conversation because a lot has been sent to challenge me. I also want to talk about how when we talk about when you're talking about taking on other people's stuff, I want to talk about that today too because it's been happening this week and identifying what that actually is or not is, because for me, you can say it's not my stuff. Oh, your connection has failed, James. So I'm just going to try add you again, darling. Bring James onto camera. It's saying adding again, James. Oh, good. It says connecting. Great. James just sent me a message. But hopefully I can talk to you about this, James. But I really want to talk about when we, from one perspective, I guess you could say in the world of duality, you could say, I'm here, you're there, you have your reality and your boundary. I have my reality and my boundary. We have emotional boundaries, we have physical boundaries, we have intellectual boundaries, we have, sexual boundaries. But the reality is that's in the world of duality. But then in the world of unity, in the world of oneness and consciousness on that level, which is the world that we actually live in, alongside the world of duality, it's all at the same time, everything's an extension of ourselves. And so even though I'm not taking on somebody else's stuff, when I've got my boundary there, still it is part of that story or that transaction. I'll try again, James. It failed. I'm trying again. Yeah. So even though that like for example, this situation where I'm trying to add James in. Well, James and I are already connected. So the duality of this situation is I'm trying to add James into the conversation. However, James and I are already connected. There is no disconnection. However, the lesson around the connecting is, I could say, well, it's not my issue, it's a technology issue. This is nothing to do with me, but it could have a lot to do with me. It could be that we're talking about subject that I'm only just coming upon and I have some discomfort about it, or James might have some discomfort about it, and we're both, you know, there might be something going on there that I'm not conscious of. I'm not actually feeling that consciously, but that could be going on, or it could be some interference from somewhere else. But then I could say, well, that's not about me. But then actually, isn't it about me? It could well be about me. So it might be about me coming to terms. I'm going to try again, James. Could be me coming to terms with this aspect of myself, you know. So it's about keeping an open mind. As if it is all about me, because everything's just a mirror of my existence and my process and my journey, then it's about the ownership. It's about me going, well, what is it? And exploring that, and not just fobbing it off and going, oh, well, nothing I can do about it. Oh, well, it's that person's stuff. James has sent me a message. It's trying to connect me, but you're frozen. It just says connecting. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on there, because I did make sure I was on the good connection. Hopefully. Okay, it's not frozen on my end. I've got good connection here, so that's good. Just my computer's playing me, so that's good for me to know. But I will try again, James. Let's go. 4th time lucky. Adding. Come on. Bring in the consciousness and the connection energy to make this happen, angels. Adding. So, I'm interested to hear any comments you guys might have on that. If you've got any comments, please send them through while we're waiting for James. Oh, is it frozen again? Thanks, Ryan said discernment and judgment are 2 different things too. That used to be confusing for me. Sammy, Hayden, reason and rhyme. It says it failed again, James. Hey, James, if I have a problem adding you again, what I might do is I'll try and get you in on my computer and on a video, or actually a voice call or something like that, because it might take up too much download if I put it on the video. Anyway, I'm really curious about discussing this topic about how we stay in our heart space and have this relationship of unity with everything that happens all the way around us. James has sent me a message. Trying to connect, it's freezing. Oh, okay. Intense energies, I suspect, playing with electronics. Could well be. I'm calling James. Get him in on the voice. I think I'm trying to add him, so that might be interfering and it might be frozen. So we'll just keep talking. I'm going to try James again after this. If it says adding and it fails, I'll just try and add him in again, because I think I just want to keep trying to persist with this conversation here around staying in the heart space. I'm curious if anybody out there has issues around this. Can you, here we go, connection failed. Let me try and call him again. Hello, James.
Hello.
Yay, we got James. At least we got you on audio, huh?
Yeah, every time it was trying to connect, you would just freeze and it just would say connecting.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. We got some weird shit going down here. Did you hear any of, I mean, it froze a bit, but what I was saying was like, you know how we have these ideas that we have a boundary here and a boundary there around what my stuff is and your stuff is, and there's this sort of world of duality around that. But because I used to teach boundary setting as a counsellor many moons ago, and what I've realised now is, like, even my husband, I was having a conversation with him this morning, and we were talking about there was this person, and I was saying, like, I know that they're behaving in a certain way because they've got this issue going on. And then he said, oh, well, you know, that's not your stuff, don't you, honey? And I said, I know, but yeah, no, but why am I creating this for myself, this experience for myself too? And so everything, and I've attracted this situation. So everything's about me. I don't want to not take ownership of this. And I want to own it because there's some lesson, there's some gold nugget in this for me. And if I just say, oh yeah, it's just their stuff, then I haven't really gotten the lesson around it for myself.
I'd like to throw a spanner in the works if I could. On that. It is true that sometimes we experience these things with people because they're trying to show us something or they're trying to teach us something. And that's very true. Yeah. But sometimes things happen because there's nothing there for us.
Yeah.
We're actually doing something to assist them.
I agree. Agree with that.
You know, like, to give you an example, when I was a little kid, I had a stepfather. And I went through about 3.5 years of abuse. I won't get into the details, but it had a very profound effect on my life. And I discovered later on that he was trying to balance some karma, and the person he had the karma with, every time he tried to balance it never worked. He wasn't able to balance it. So I agreed to experience that or go through that with him so that he could balance that karma and not have to deal with it again.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. It was strictly for him, and I simply agreed to be there. Sometimes when someone treats us in a negative fashion, sometimes it's like something to perhaps show us, you know, to be mindful around those situations for ourselves. But sometimes it's a situation where it's actually for them, not for us at all. We're just being the mirror for them or the catalyst for them to experience something and hopefully figure out what's going on for them and to change the things that need to be changed.
Yeah. And I think, like, it's about, like, really getting clear on, like, for me, the ownership of, am I the catalyst for someone else? Because it is all about me then. I have been chosen by that person. Am I the catalyst for someone else? And that is the role that I have actually contracted to do with this person. Or are they the catalyst for my learning? And I can own that because that's my learning. So technically, I can't play the victim in either situation by saying, well, it's not about me. I'm just handing it over and it's their boundaries and all that. It is. If it is something about me, then I need to actually own that. In this situation, I actually did feel it was about me, it was about my response to the person's, when this person escalated in their energy and their inability to moderate their reality. It was about me and how I responded to that by, in the past, how I responded to that was I just did that old thing of, oh, it's about you, it's not about me, and it's the boundary, and that's them, and literally, but what happened in my energy centers was I shut down. And what we're talking about is not shutting down.
Correct.
We're talking about keeping our heart open. And I think that that's a really big ask when you feel every cell in your body is recoiling and going, excuse the French, but fuck off. Don't treat me like that. I respect myself better than this, and you've got no idea what you're dealing with. That is not okay at all in any way, shape or form. So it's very hard to keep your energetic center open when all of you just wants to recoil and shut down. And it's very, very hard to sit in a compassionate place when a person is in that abusive situation, in the middle of it, or it's just happened, or it is hard to maintain a relationship with a person who's coming from that space. So for me, it's been that challenge this week, because I haven't had that for a while around me. And so, but I noticed my little 12-year-old, adolescent inner child, that's what she did when she dealt with this person. She would completely shut down. In her energy, she would be saying, get away from me, I don't want to have a bar of you. And then, but the consequence of that was my heart shut down, my energy shut down. So I've learned this week that I need to find a way to become peaceful in my heart and keep it open and not shut my energy down, but still have my self-respect on board as well. So that's just a bit of my own personal sharing of what I've been through this week.
What I find interesting about that, to be honest with you, you find yourself in a situation where you're being asked to remain open.
Yes, I am.
To remain centered and balanced within yourself.
Yes, I am.
And this is exactly what I was asked to do today.
Wow, I know. It just felt like a match. There was something going on energetically there with what you were going through. Straight up, I felt it.
Totally different scenarios.
Oh, totally, yeah.
But the exact same situation, the exact same. Can you go through this and remain centered within yourself, be true to who you are, and remain open and not shut yourself down, not go into that place of fear, go into that place of withdrawal, and actually stay where you need to be. Yeah. And so that's a phenomenal thing for people to hear.
It is. I believe.
They need to hear that.
They do indeed. Mm.
Now, I wanted to get I thought a lot about this, and I've been thinking about this since we spoke about this, and I was asked to give you a blessing.
Thank you. That is so beautiful, James. Really?
Yes, but this blessing is in universal light language.
Okay. I'm open, ready, and excited to receive it. Thank you.
Well, I've been speaking universal light language for 23 years now. And so, yeah, this is something that goes from heart to heart. It goes beyond the English verbiage of labels and everything. And it's a heart-to-heart type thing. So here you go.
Thank you.
It's Lombra Takata Tomate Deronomata Kiepra Tomoshe. Yaya, Oshama Yeda Yaya, Yava Tomotor Tomoke, Yanara Protomota, Lanyara Protomokia La Protomota, Yamara Tomotana Kalahamara Tomoteste, Omatakite Lamushna.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's so interesting because I had some, that's the second kind of time this week that I've had light language flooding across my whole being. and it's made a big difference to how I feel. I really felt that coming, same thing, I must need it. It's coming through, it's literally coming through my stomach and it's coming up to my heart and out. So it's like my sacral chakra is really like going, I need to soak this in, like receive. And then my heart is coming out my heart and I'm feeling that my heart's kind of like expanding outwards like this. And I had the same feeling on Tuesday when Michael Murr was doing some light language with our other host, Raul Estevez, on Tuesday, and it was really interesting because I kind of, last week I was thinking, gee, that's interesting. We don't have a lot of people doing light language on the channel, but we've got 2 in 1 week. Like that's like crazy. Like I had one last year with Australia Love, and she did some light language with me, and it was absolutely beautiful. But since then, we haven't had a lot of light language happening through, and to have that synchronicity of 1 week, and I felt the same thing. And then I did filming with Adam Mack on the heart matrix, and we were talking about all things staying in the heart and how to do this and all that kind of stuff on the Tuesday, like directly, like literally. The live stream was at 9 o'clock my time. And then I was filming at 10 o'clock with Adam. And I just feel like the messages coming through this week so strongly, and I hope you guys are soaking them in as you're listening, is stay in your heart space. And sometimes it is a challenge. Often it's, James, don't you feel like, sometimes it's just a challenge to stay in your heart space, but it's a practice. Like if we how am I saying this? If we make it a practice to be in our heart space, right? And when things are easy and we don't take it for granted, we stay in our gratitude, we stay in our joy, we stay in our belief in the unity, we call on our heart to help us make intuitive decisions that flow. If we do all those tools, then when the proverbial shit hits the fan, like it did with you this morning, and and how it has felt like for me this week with a few things, I think it's not as hard to find our way back to heart space. Would you agree? Like you still have to work your way down like a chisel sometimes, but it's not as hard because you're kind of used to it.
To be really blunt and honest about it, this is something that we need to work on every single day.
Yeah.
We are bombarded by a multitude of different sensations, information, people, experiences, that there's always something that can take us out of that hard space. And so the only way, a workshop that I teach is called Conscious Mindful Living.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about not only being in the present moment, but it's about making conscious decisions and choices each day. Because if you're not making conscious choices, if you're just making blind choices, there's too much of an opportunity to be pulled out of your center, to be pulled out of your heart.
I agree 100% with that.
And so through my conscious mindful living, by being very conscious of our choices, and when I say conscious, I mean, you don't just get up and go, oh, well, I'm having a bowl of cereal because I have a bowl of cereal every morning. Yep. It's like, make a conscious choice of what you're going to eat for breakfast. Make a conscious choice of whatever piece of clothing that you're going to put on. Make a conscious choice of what you're going to watch. I mean, even if you watch the same thing every Tuesday night, make a conscious choice of what you're going to watch. Don't just, well, I always do it, so, and then, you get into this almost robot mentality where, oh, well, this is just what I do, and you're not even present.
Yeah.
So by being conscious, and it takes work, because let me tell you something, I've been doing this now for over 30 years, and when I started out, I was not able to stay in my heart.
Yeah. No, I mean, me too. Me too.
And today was probably the most stressful day I've had in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm still in my heart.
Yeah.
And it's because it's like it's something you have to work on every single day. And unfortunately, we have too many people who they get lazy, you know. And it's like they think, well, you know, it's kind of like this. It's like my wife and I have spoken about this many times. It's like our spiritual guides, okay, as an example. Now, the key word in that is guide. They cannot do anything for us. They are there to guide us. So every day when we get up, we should ask them for their assistance. We should thank them for their assistance. And then if we get into a situation where they could give us some assistance, but they don't because we haven't asked for it, we can't really, although a lot of people do, we can't really blame them for not assisting us when we haven't asked for their assistance. So it's about being conscious every day, conscious about our choices, conscious about what we're doing. You had that event that happened this week.
Yeah.
Where normally you fall into this
totally.
trap.
Yeah, totally.
And it's a trap.
Yeah, I would just shut down.
Yeah, and that's a trap.
Totally.
And so it's like Spirit is always testing us. So we run across these situations, and it's like, how are you going to respond? Are you going to respond the way you've always responded, or are you going to respond differently?
Totally.
And it's like, it's about trusting yourself enough to say, you know, and you made a very interesting comment. You said, I don't like being treated that way because I'm better than that. Well, guess what? Living a conscious life is something you should be doing because you're better than that.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, I love this.
Yeah, me too. And you know, like, it was interesting because it kind of like my husband and I were having a conversation this morning about artificial intelligence and how, you know, it sort of, it takes away a level of consciousness from humanity, like almost like disabling humanity. Because he was sharing with me about how there's been some education. Oh, well, you know, what's the gentleman's name who's just passed away again? Who he's amazing.
Stephen Hawking.
Thank you. Stephen Hawking passed away. Love you, Stephen. And he had some really beautiful connection, I think, to the universe and understanding it in a bigger capacity than most scientists would. And I feel like, you know, my husband Tony had made a comment about Stephen, who had mentioned that there's a real danger in handing our power over to artificial intelligence, because in Stephen's mind it would stop our evolution. Now, my belief is that nothing can stop our evolution. We could certainly learn from something intersecting us and our consciousness, but we would rise above it because that's part of our journey as conscious beings. But, you know, having said that, it is about not handing our consciousness over. And, like, I don't know if anybody out there uses a GPS, but if you program something into your GPS to go there, even if you've been there a few times, you know, and you're driving down a street perhaps that you know you shouldn't be driving down, because maybe there's, I don't know, there's a quicker way around the other way, and your intuition's kicking in and fighting the GPS. You know, it's almost like, I don't need to go down there. What are you sending me down there for? I know the way. It's down this way. It's easier, you know. Or they don't know that there's a cat that runs across the road down that end. You know, I mean, there's things that you intuitively know how to follow, you know, without having to program the GPS sometimes. You know what I mean? When it's repetitive.
Definitely.
It's a bit scattered. Sorry, everybody, but you know what I'm getting at. It's like consciousness is so important. It's precious. It's gold. If we start to hand our power over to too much to these things, we start to regress, and there is a danger there of falling asleep a bit in our conscious choices.
Oh, I agree completely because, I mean, we're faced with so many different things here. And there are different, we have to be mindful of traps. Like, a lot of people get trapped because they don't take the time to discern. So-and-so was really famous, so whatever they say, I'll take it as truth, instead of actually discerning. And this can take them down the wrong track.
Yeah.
Being presented with challenges like you've been challenged this week, I've been challenged. Can you speak your heart?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you faltered a little bit. Are you going to judge yourself? Are you going to criticize yourself? Or are you going to go, you know what, I probably could have done that a little better? Something for me to work on a little bit next time and hopefully do a little bit better and good to go and have a nice day and off you go.
Yeah.
That's really, really important. And you have to be willing to not only explore, but you also have to be willing to reflect.
Absolutely. I took it to the point where I understand what you're saying about the high expectations of yourself, because what I realised was that when I had, in the past, in my life, when I had actually shut down, it had actually created a situation for myself in my 20s where I developed anorexia. I was so shut down. And I had these high expectations of myself. And I actually reflected to that level this week in understanding how that kind of behaviour around me and things like that as I was a young person really created high expectations of myself, actually, and I projected those onto my body and developed an eating disorder because I shut down. And I think it's yes, I agree with you, James. I totally agree with you. I had to really take it there this week. It was a really deep week of healing for me. And I just wanted to say, Sammy Hayden has just said that GPS is just a guide, like our guides are guides. Thank you, Sammy. And Peter Boone, hi. And a few other people have tuned in that I haven't had a chance to say hello to. I know you're watching. Thank you. So it's been a huge week. Are you feeling more connected to your heart even talking about this topic? I kind of find I am. I'm feeling, thank you for the blessing that you gave me earlier as well, the light language blessing, but I just even feel like talking about this is helping me to really remember the heart space.
Well, it is, because this is why it's so important. I mean, when you talk about hurt things, it connects you to the heart. When you're talking about fear-based things, what happens?
Yeah.
You become more fear-based.
Yep.
If you're talking about heart things, you become more heart-based.
Yep.
And so it's one of those situations where we have to make a decision. We have to make a choice. Who are you going to hear? Because next lifetime you'll have the opportunity to choose something different, but you're not in that next lifetime. You're not in the previous lifetime. You're in this lifetime. And as somebody who regularly looks at past lives, I know that the most important lifetime is the one we're living in. So we have to be focused here. We have to be conscious here and not worried about the other side of things. And so the more that we can speak about heart things, the more that we can interact with those people of heart, it does increase that connection of our heart within ourselves. And it'll actually get to a point where all of a sudden you will feel almost an implosion within the heart as it activates to a higher level.
I agree. I think once you get the lesson too, like things, it's like when you own your lesson in it, even if you weren't the catalyst and someone else is a catalyst and it's all, oh my God, they're acting like who knows, like a maniac. But when you get the lesson of your part, of what you've got to own, whether that's self-respect, whether that's learning how to keep your heart open to everything and yourself at the same time in the most extraordinarily difficult circumstances. If that is your lesson, if that is my lesson, if that we are being called to step up and then to share it. I mean, that's obviously what both of us have been through this morning, to be able to go through situations where we've been challenged. So then we're in a position of role modeling and enlightened conversation around it, and how we can actually be honest and accountable and take stock of our bit and reflect. And I mean, that's gold. That's a gift that then gets passed on to everybody else, but not everybody's ready for it, I don't think. My sense is that this conversation may be viewed, it was quite disruptive to begin with, and I think that it's almost like it gives people the opportunity who are at the end to probably go, I'm glad I stuck it out. I was ready for it, you know? Whereas people who watched a little bit and dropped off, maybe not ready, maybe need to do a bit more work before they're drawn to this level of conversation, because it's quite deep and quite confronting.
Well, it is. And my favorite kinds of conversation. You know, you get to a point where it's like, you know what? I have played enough games throughout my incarnation, throughout my life, that the way I am now, I'm not interested in the games anymore. All I'm interested in is reality. I'm interested in being real with who I am, with what I am, with what I'm doing, and that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like, when I have a conversation like this, it's like, my first thought is, ooh, someone that actually understands.
Woohoo! And my feet are tingling. You know, when my feet tingle, that is a really awesome sign. By the way, I'm not wearing any shoes. I just stuck my feet up to the camera so everybody can see I've got bare feet. And that it is a conscious decision, because I like to not wear shoes as much as possible. But what I notice is that my feet tingle when there's a huge vibrational shift of energy coming through. So if I'm feeling it, I imagine that the viewers are it's actually coming down to our audio visual through the technology to everybody else, which is quite awesome and exciting.
And for me, to be honest, that's the point.
Yes, me too. It's all about sharing.
It is, but it's also about taking things to that next level. You know, you get so many people and they're like, there's a great almost confusion going on in this world, and people are waiting for events that aren't meant for them, or they're waiting for events that aren't going to happen, and it just creates this scenario where people get focused on the wrong things. You know, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is being, if you're in the moment, if you're in today, and you're doing the things that you need to do that is best for you, best for your life, you're living from your heart, you're living your life according to your inner sanctum, then you can actually walk a path that is much more conducive to who you are. And this is so vitally important.
Yeah.
And so many people tend to miss this because they're trying to. I'm going to share with you the thing that I actually dislike the most about being incarnated on this planet.
Okay, please do. You're a soft place to fall with me. Trust me. Go right ahead, darling. Let it
Here it is. This is the thing that annoys me the most about planet Earth. Being competitive.
Oh, yeah.
I see people so much, and it's like they're always trying to be in competition with each other, you know, and it's like there's absolutely no reason for it. There's no point to it. we're all here for the same reasons, and we're all here to do something that is spectacular, that changes the very fabric of the universe, that changes everything that one could possibly imagine. And all we have to do is step out of our own self for a moment and realize the fact that this journey is a sacred journey that we all, each one of us, has chosen to walk, has chosen to be on. And all we have to do is get out of our own way and actually decide, make a choice, make a decision. Who are you going to be?
Yeah, who are you going to be?
How are you going to live your life?
I like that.
You know, and you can be, the thing is, when you put yourself out in the public eye, I know you didn't probably discover this, Michelle, I've discovered this, you're going to have haters.
Of course you are. Who cares?
It is part and parcel of doing, I mean, I don't care if you're in like the spiritual realm like yourself and like myself, I don't care if you're an actor or an actress or a singer or whatever you might be, but if you're in the public arena, you're going to have those haters, you're going to have those people who criticize you, who do whatever, and it's about owning who you are.
It is.
Not about buying into their dramas, but rather moving above their dramas and realizing that there's something much greater going on here that needs to end.
Yeah, there is. And I need to end on that note because we're out of time, but I've really enjoyed our conversation and I agree with you 100%. And I feel that when we get busy owning what we're here to do, we don't have time to be focusing on everyone else and what they're doing. We're just getting busy sharing what we're being called to do. So I really thank you graciously from my heart, James, for sharing space with me and for rising above our own challenges with our technology and getting on with it and doing what we're here to do today. So thank you.
Well, I thank you tremendously for the opportunity, and I love the conversations and I love the sharing. And my only hope is that somebody who hears this or who has heard it or who will hear it, it'll make a difference for them in their path.
Thank you so much. God, lots and lots of love to you.
Many blessings.
Bye. Well, everybody, I just wanted to make a few announcements before we sign off for today. We have another Enlightened conversation coming up with myself and Kazi K. Iliopoulos, and she's a self-improvement author, an energy, flower essence and crystal healing practitioner, and is passionate about guiding individuals to relearn how to heal their physical, mental, emotional and spiritual selves. She's also a speaker and teacher facilitating seminars, workshops and meditation sessions to support the other souls on their spiritual journey. So I'll be talking to her next Thursday, the 22nd of March at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or 1 p.m. Melbourne time. Just to let you know that she won the Living Now 2015 Evergreen Book Bronze Medal for Spiritual Leadership for her book, her first published book, Living in the Light, Love and Truth. So, and she's won a silver medal in 2017 for her second book, which was How to Create Positive Energy in Your Space. So, wow, we're really looking forward to meeting and hopefully we've got a little bit more of a technology flow with our live stream for that one next Thursday. And we've also got Jag Sandhu over in the UK. She's going to be doing a live stream next Tuesday or Wednesday to be decided with a mysterious Canadian guest. So we'll find more out about that very soon, and I'll make an announcement on the Enlightened Conversations public Facebook page, and I'll do the ad up so you guys know about it as an event. And then next Saturday, we have a Enlightened Conversation with Raul Estevez when he chats to Laura Faccione, and they're talking about how Laura not only reconciles her academic mind with her spiritual being in a unit of consciousness to help students achieve their full potential, which is really lovely. And that's at 11:45 a.m. in Melbourne or 10:45 a.m. in Australian Eastern Standard Time. And our final announcement is I have a wonderful episode of Enlightened Conversations on 5D TV, and also will be available on YouTube and topbuzz.com. We actually have a connection with topbuzz.com, and Enlightened Conversations is now actually streaming from YouTube and our Facebook Live directly into topbuzz.com. So we're very excited about that. And we've got Paul Seals from Conscious Capital Partners. I've just done an episode with him, and cryptomasterminds.org, and he's sharing his expertise and understanding and investing in the crypto market with us on the Enlightened Conversation, but also the other themes around crypto and how we can actually overcome any barriers we might have and fears to do with money and crypto, and also identify the risks as well. It's really, really great conversation that we had, and I will be posting that very soon. It is on topbuzz.com at the moment, and it is on our YouTube channel, and you can find that through our website, lightworkerfoundation.org, but I will be posting it, the links and everything, up on our Enlightened Conversations public page this afternoon. So lots of love to you all. Thank you, James. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.